Well, good morning. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? Go get your American Reversion Rebellion Deterrence's Obedience to God mug. Fill it with something good and come back and join me while we talk about what's going on in our country, specifically down in Texas, and what that is shaping up to be. If you don't want to have one of these yet, shame on you. You know you like one, and I guarantee you everything tastes better out of this because it reminds us. It reminds us that on the flip side, I'm going to start off by saying this, reminding us about this, that from the Declaration of Independence, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them, they the people, shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. And in that effect means, it's with an E, not an A, it means bring about their safety and happiness. Boy, doesn't that ring true right now. So you all know what's happening down in Texas. I hope you do. If you don't, catch up, because an informed citizenry is the bedrock of our country. It should be, meant to be, right? A moral and informed citizenry. And that's one of the reasons we've got off, because too many of our people are uninformed and immoral. But what's going on down in Texas, you know what the situation is. The federal government, using its minions in the Border Patrol, was not securing the border. Texas put up wire to keep people out and direct them into the ports of entry, like where they should. Well, they shouldn't be coming through, but if they're going to come through anyway, that's where they're supposed to. And they had the Border Patrol went down there and cut the wire. And so Texas put up more wire and barriers and relieved the Border Patrol of their duties. Pardon me. Need another sip of rebellion here. Good for Texas and the Texas Guard and all the good people in Texas. All the good people, not all the people. Excuse me just a second. Okay, so then they took it to the Supreme Court, the federals did, and the Supreme Court said, nope, you got to take down that, the Border Patrol can go back in. You can't keep the Border Patrol from the border. Go down there. The federals can go down there and remove those barriers. So they've been down there removing all the razor wire and the barriers and such as that. And the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, who I guess there's different feelings about him. I don't know. I'm not a Texan. But in this case, I'm sure with him. He said, well, that's all right. We'll just put it back up. And he wrote this letter and he declared an invasion in Texas. And he read where that each state has a right to secure their border in the case of invasion, in the case of when the federal government completely fails in their obligation, one of their few constitutional obligations, to secure the states against invasion. He declared an invasion, said the federals and Biden have failed in this. We're taking it back. So now they're putting up more barriers. Well, it's become more complicated. Florida, Arkansas have sent their National Guardsmen down to back up the Florida National Guard in a potential head-to-head with federal authorities. We know what the next step could be with that. We don't know what it will be, but we know what it could be. Up to now, I think 25 states have joined in solidarity with Texas. Some of them saying they will send guards, some of them, giving support, and others. There should be 49 states supporting them, because this is a states' rights issue. This is a good time to throw in this lesson. People can learn now how that war back in the 1860s, which was not a civil war, they can understand how that started, because it is started. And when people talk about that was about slavery, Slavery was a part of it, but it was about states' rights. And for years and years, we would get the uneducated people arguing with us. It wasn't about states' rights, it was about slavery. Well, okay. Do you see now? This is about states' rights. And some people, if it depends on what happens. If the federal government wins on this thing, we will have history books coming out later saying this was about poor people, this is about immigrants, this was about a whole group of states trying to keep immigrants down, enslaved, everything like that. You see, this is the perfect example of what a states' rights issue is. That when the state tried to secure itself, the federal government went in and fought against them. We're in a position, I just put one up on the preparedness channel, integrative preparedness channel, and I said, is a civil war coming or a revolution? It doesn't really matter in a preparedness perspective, because it means that everything will be a mess and you need to be prepared for everything. But in the political frame, it does matter a little bit. A civil war is two or more sides fighting for control of the same government. A revolution is an attempt to overthrow an existing government and replace it with a new government. Okay, the two are very, very different, but the results can be the same. And in many cases, a revolution is often followed by civil wars between different factions. They will come together against a common foe for common purpose, but all those purposes aren't necessarily common. And after the revolution has taken place, then all the factions who disagree with one another will start fighting for supremacy in what's going to become, the new country or the new governing body, whatever. In any case, it's a royal mess. It's not something that we particularly want. Sometimes it's necessary. The old, blood of tyrants and patriots. The other way around, actually, if you want to quote it, but it doesn't matter. However you prefer to think of it, right? But the end result is impossible to know. What we want to think about now is what we need to be doing at this point. I started off the day by emailing and calling and leaving messages with the governor of our state and my state representative, not my federal representative. She's worthless. But our local, our state legislature representative and senator. And I urged them, politely, but I urged them, side with Texas and Governor Abbott on this. This is every state's issue. And it's not overly dramatic to say that every state is a border state, because these people, our federal government, is shipping all of these illegal aliens all over the country to every state. Every state, maybe except Hawaii, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Hawaii or Alaska. But at least down here in the contiguous 48, every state is a border state. And why anybody wouldn't be concerned with this issue is beyond me, except, well, the commies, they're concerned with it. They like it. They want it to happen. They're wanting to destroy and collapse our country through a Cloward and Pivens situation, to overload our system, okay, to bring this country down. There was a great question. Somebody put up a couple of good questions, actually, over on the Integrative Preparedness Patreon channel. By the way, if you're not with us on the Patreon channel here, the American Reversion Patreon channel, the link is down below, and you should come over there. I wish you would. I invite you over there. A lot more stuff is over there, and we're entering a very, very interesting year. You'll be glad you did. I'll just put it that way. For $1 a month, you'll be glad you did. But somebody on the Integrated Preparedness Patreon page, they said 2 questions. First off, would our enemies outside, our foreign enemies, look at us and say, oh, this would be a perfect time to attack? a country, an America that is tearing itself apart? Or should we just wait for America and watch while America tears itself apart, and then we'll go in? Okay. Great questions, right? I had another statement every day on the over on the Integrated Preparedness. So I may start doing it here on the American Reversion Patreon channel too. I'll put up something. Matter of fact, I think I will. I'll say that right now. There is something called a chat, and it's on the Patreon channel. And every day I started off with a nice picture of something, and then a statement or a question. And throughout the day, all the people who want to invite, leave a statement or talk about what the topic of the day is, they'll participate. It's really gotten to be a good thing. Well, there was somebody left a statement over there, and it's one of our very top commenters, very sharp. When I asked, "Is this an Alamo moment?" he said, "No, we don't want to use the Alamo as an example because it didn't turn out too well." And I got his point exactly. But let me say this, the Alamo is the perfect example of this, because the Alamo was the start of something, not the end of something. And we've talked about before, we've had a lot of people, what's it going to take for the American people to rise up and right this ship, to essentially take it back to an American reversion, or as somebody else says, to make America great again? What's it going to take? And I've always said, well, it's going to take enough people being mad at the same time about some various things they can come together on, and it's going to take a leader, and it's going to take very often some martyrs. That's what happened with the Alamo. What we're seeing now is that Greg Abbott has stood up, and like I say, I understand that there are differing opinions of him down in Texas. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm not taking one side or another. I'm sure that both sides have valid points, and each side will say the others doesn't. I don't, I have no dog in that fight. But he has stood up in this case and taken a leadership role and thrown down the gauntlet and stood up against an oppressive federal government, and he has now been joined by governors of 25 other states. That's what it takes. We may be seeing the beginning of the change. Now, whereas this thing down in Eagle Pass and the border generally is like the Alamo, is that this may not end up being a victory in and of itself, but it's the start. If this is, and like I've used the analogy before, if the fuse, this didn't light the fuse. The fuse has been going for a long time. It's just been getting closer and closer and closer to that barrel of TNT, But if this is the thing that sets it off, like the Alamo gave a rallying cry, that's a very important thing. That provides a cohesion among people to give them a common, a battle cry, if it were, I don't know if someday, Remember Eagle Pass will be up there with Remember the Alamo or not. But it certainly is serving as that purpose right now. And sadly, we're not dealing with an outside enemy. We're not a foreign enemy, a domestic enemy, an enemy who has been systematically trying to destroy our country for years. So what we're seeing is very important. We're living in interesting times. You know that old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. But as they say also, whether it's the Chinese character, I don't mean to bring China into this, it's just, how there are these sayings, that the symbols for danger and opportunity are the same. Well, there's dangers. We're facing dangers. Are we also, within those dangers, able to see the opportunities? And it very well may be. So at this point, what we want to do is support those people however we can. You know, some people are actually going down to the border to help. Other people are sending money. Other people are making YouTube videos. Other people are, you know, whatever it is, whatever you can do. You definitely want to be a part of the information war. And you want to be talking about and spreading this among the people you know. You want to be calling your governors. You want to, if they're already on board, give them a call and say, hey, right on. I'm with you. I'm supporting you. You know, they want to know that. Remember, these, you know, politicians who have a moral compass, they're going to do what they think is right no matter what. But politicians without a moral compass, meaning Democrat governors and such, they want more than anything to be reelected. And the more people they hear from, it can have an effect. So if you're not doing the very simplest thing, the most basic requirement of good citizenship, which is voting, and then contacting your representatives about issues that you think are important, it's time to start doing it. It's time to start doing it. You will hear many people out there that say it's a waste of time. It's politics. Okay, those are people who have given up, or maybe not even given up, because probably most of them didn't try to begin with. It's just an easy excuse for them not to have to do anything. Okay, don't listen to the person who won't get in to help. Okay, they want you to be like them. Don't be like them. Get in and do what you think, what you know you should be doing. So to that end, would you share this video? There's a lot of people out there making great videos about this. Share this one, share the others, consume the information, keep yourself up to date of what's going on. Give this video a thumbs up if you would. Give it a comment if you would. It helps everything. Make sure that you are subscribed, and then share it. Get out there. And you know how after 9/11, everybody in the world came out and said, we are all Americans now, even the French. We are all Americans now. Well, we are all Texans now, because Texas has shown the rest of the country what we should be doing. Okay, all right. Hey, rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God, and remember that America needs a reversion. This may be the catalyst for what brings it around. Let's don't waste this opportunity, okay? Be a part of it. You can be an important part of it. Share it with your friends. Talk about this with your friends. Talk about this at work. Share this. People who haven't been concerned before, something like this can get them concerned. Don't waste the opportunity. Y'all have a good day. Do something, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.